Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. Today I'm looking at a book which has come to us from 11 International Publishing in The Hague. It's a very interesting book, again on international law and looking specifically at jurisprudence and philosophy in a much wider sense. The title of the book is Unilateral Jurisdiction and Global Values, and it's been edited by Cedric Reingart. Now, Elizabeth and I considered the book in some detail. It's a very short book, I'll show it in a moment, and we came up with a title, which we've included in our review, Refreshing Jurisprudential Insights in Public International Law, Legal Theory and Political Philosophy. Now, it's a deepish book. It's not a big book at all. There it is, little paperback, and there's the spine and then there's the back. You see, it doesn't run to very many pages. 146 pages in total, no index. You've got footnoting on the bottom of each page, quite a lot of it you can see as you go in the book itself. We go to the front of the book. There is the information. It is translated into English. Obviously it was written in a different language. I like the dedication, which I always show where I can, from the author. Then there's the table of contents. You can see the structure there. It's not a difficult book to read, and I thought it added a great deal of help to anybody who's interested, as I am, in jurisprudence. Then you get the introduction, international law and cosmopolitanism. And it actually mentions someone from Harvard, so you do have quite an interesting variety of quotes. The author is Cedric Reingart, who's Professor of Public International Law at Utrecht University. And he's written quite a large number of books. You can see you do have some quite useful concluding observations, which I like. This is the way they do it in many of these publications from 11. Then you've got the various chapter headings. There aren't very many chapters. The total number of chapters is actually, when I get to it, in fact 5 chapters with concluding thoughts at the end. So you've got a fairly interesting approach to what we're looking at in terms of what is called unilateral jurisdiction and basically the world, what our values and standards are throughout the world. This is what we say about the book. International lawyers, especially those of an academic, jurisprudential bent, should find this relatively short treatise from 11 Publishing by Cedric Reingart really rather fascinating. It takes an intriguing philosophical journey through the various interpretations and applications of international law, both the practical and theoretical. The author is a Professor of Public International Law at Utrecht University, whose publications have included Jurisdiction in International Law, now in a second edition, published recently by Oxford University Press. The critical legal scholar, he says, quote, should endeavour to understand whether international law has an impact on the conduct of international relations and what parameters influence engagement and compliance with international law. His arguments centre at least partly on the concept of cosmopolitanism, which I hope you find he develops a bit in the argument, and it's described as the political philosophical notion that the international community has a shared morality and that members of this community, whether states or individuals, have duties towards each other. Now you can see from that, well, as soon as we get into the issue of morality, where the jurisprudential argument will come. So anybody looking for a first in jurisprudence would be well advised to buy this book, in my view, because you will remember the Hart Devlin debate, you'll remember Kelson, you'll remember a whole range of things, but this is quite a new bit of guidance on an aspect which you may find of help. Moral cosmopolitanism, sometimes denoted as global justice, has, according to Reingart, gained particular prominence in political theory since the 1990s, which is why international lawyers are becoming more aware of it, although certain theoreticians, known as realists, may and do deny the existence of any role for international law or morality in the conduct of international relations, quote, even if moral norms have on paper integrated the international legal order. So there you have it. You can see immediately that they're not going to agree on anything, which is typical of jurisprudence and philosophy in general. But the issue that is coming out of this is they're denying the existence of this particular role. Well, how dare they, some people would say. And how, in fact, it's a valid point, because, in fact, to have a blanket denial is perhaps a little fallacious. And I won't be stronger than that in my point of view. Let me continue by saying we cite here, of course, only a couple of examples of discussions which can only stimulate and further contribute to the ongoing and often rather puzzling debate on the efficacy and indeed the effectiveness of international law. To this end, the book focuses mainly on recent and current thinking on the diverse issues raised, quoting along the way from a plethora of contemporary commentators whose research has provided insightful and often startlingly pertinent quotes from everybody, from St. Augustine to Sir Isaac Newton to René Descartes and Spinoza, mainly on matters relating to territory and space, which in today's context must include cyberspace and, yes, outer space. Let me conclude by saying, for researchers and graduate students especially, as well as lawyers and anybody with a general interest in this area of work in jurisprudence, this book opens up any number of avenues of inquiry in what is becoming this important area of law, touching on the increasing interdependence of states, as well as their moral responsibility to other states and to their own citizens. And the publication date is cited at 2015. As I say, I found this very interesting. There are a lot of short books available on jurisprudential issues, which are well worth reading if you're going for a fairly substantial mark in this area, because it is the detail of your research which will assist you when it comes to the writing out of your answers in an examination hall on jurisprudential questions. So when you go in, you're already prepared by reference to some of these books, and this is one of them that I think will assist you, because we are looking at the international area. Justifying unilateral jurisdiction is an important point in chapter 2, for instance. I've been very pleased with this book. It's not a difficult book to read. I wouldn't waste too much time going through the footnotes. Just read the text as a whole, and I'm sure you will find it very valuable. I'd like to thank Professor Reingard very much indeed for this work, and to 11 for producing it. It's an excellent contribution, and I'm sure will be of great interest to current and future students and scholars. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.